So this is the latest film from director Justin Tipping, produced by Jordan Peele and his Monkey Paw Productions. His name is all over this, and it had a lot of strange reactions online, a lot of really fairly negative reviews. And I said, I'm interested in this. Let me go in with an open mind and see how this is. And I was actually really pleasantly surprised. This stars Marlon Wayans and newcomer Tyriq Withers. Withers is an up and coming quarterback. He's just finished his college season. He's looking to go into the league. He's like the hottest thing. He's going to be a star. He's going to be one of the greats. He's gonna go big, and then he suffers a kind of devastating head injury just before the combine, and then throws his career in doubt. We don't know if he's going to actually be able to play. He then gets a mysterious call from the estate of Isaiah White, played by Marlon Wayans, who is a what do you call like a Hall of Famer football player. He's got 8 Super Bowl titles. He's a legend of the sport, one of the best to ever do it. And so he gets flown out to his compound, and things get really strange. It's he's told, no outside, no phone, no outside calls. We're only focusing on football here, and things start to get really strange, really weird. But Cam is just trying to do whatever he can to make the league, to be one of the greats, to just have this massive career in football, no matter the cost. That's our setup. We got some weirdness, we got some blood and guts because it's a horror movie. Julia Fox is also in here. Lots to talk about. Zach, what'd you think?
So I didn't know exactly what to expect going into him. I'd seen the trailers, but the thing that I think left a big impact, like walking to the theater, was the Rotten Tomato score. Because I just kept seeing on Twitter 30%, 30%, and people going, "How does a Jordan Peele project get something like this? I can't believe Jordan Peele's movie is a bomb." And it's like, hold on, Jordan Peele didn't direct it. People figure that out pretty quickly. But more importantly, how does Monkey Paw make something that looks so visually distinct, but does not end up coming out greater on the other end for it? And a big part of that's the director, Justin Tipping, who is a talent and I think has a lot working here. But also, mostly, I think it's the script. I think the script is the weakest thing about him, because visually, it's a lot of fun. And, like, conceptually, it's really good, using, like, the intensity of football and wanting to be the greatest champion against, like, the hazards of, like, concussion and CTE to bring in horror imagery is cool, dude. Like, and they do some great stuff. Marlon Wayans is a lot of fun in it. I really like the first half of this movie. The problem is, it just gets a little chunky in the end. It just goes some places that don't make a lot of sense. In that way, it reminds me of something like, I don't know, Saltburn, right? Like, it reminds me, like, great first half, very visual, big vibes. Somebody said it was like football Suspiria, right? It kind of is, like, and I don't think that's bad. I think those are the best parts of this movie. So I'm bummed it scored so low. I think a lot of people have just automatically skipped it because they think, oh, it's junk, there's nothing here. That's not true. I think there's a lot going on in him that is good. I think it just has some clunky parts.
Yeah, enjoying cinema is all about managing expectations. And when I walked into this, I was like, this looks like a horror B movie. And that's exactly what it is. It reminds me a little bit of like something like Opus or The Menu that we've watched before. It's like, a normal setting that then turns sinister later on. And I think maybe Peele's name being attached to this maybe kind of hurt it in a way. Like, people were just expecting like a masterpiece or something more than it is. I really enjoyed it, and when it started, I kept waiting for the bad stuff to show up that everyone was complaining about. I was like, when it started, I was like, oh, I'm enjoying this. I like the look of it. I like the feel. I like the score. I like the visuals. The acting's fine. And I kept waiting for like the really terrible, and I was like, and it never came. But as opposed to something like Highest to Lowest, like I got 20 minutes into that and was like, oh, we are in trouble.
Right.
Oh no,
Yeah,
it is
you
over.
can see the flashing hazard lights. Oh God, oh no. Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. Like, I think him is very strong in the first half of the movie for sure. I really want to talk about the setting where this movie takes place. It's mostly at this like large compound that Marlon Wayans' character owns. Isaiah White, I believe is his name. He's this like 8-time super quarterback. And he invites Tyriq Withers' character out to our new young gun who wants to be the greatest, wants to be him. He invites him out to train for a week. And like, that's when things start to get strange. Like when they have this like one-on-one kind of training camp, just him and his staff. It's that like chosen protagonist kind of movie, right? Like you bring your character out and you place them somewhere, Suspiria, A Little Bit Saltburn. Opus is a great example, like we just saw recently, or The Menu. You're right, like those are both perfect. Where you have your like outsider come into this like wonderful, unique place, and I love that this place is just like one like weird brutalist desert architecture, like something out of like Dune, right, or like The Brutalist, and two like a an altar for football. Like they got two fields and one of them's indoor and one of them's outdoor, and they got all this training stuff and all the high tech sports tech stuff. And just on the fringes of that, you see all this like occasional weird symbolic imagery because the team that he wants to be on, that Isaiah White plays for, is the San Antonio Saints, right?
Saviors.
That Saviors, right? And they
Saviors,
start
yeah.
you start to bring in some religious imagery with that, and you get a cross every once in a while, and that starts to kind of trickle down, and these themes start to blend together as like our lead begins to have these like visions and like horrific experiences that are either coming from like reality or like in his head because he's concussed.
Right, and I think one of the things that really stood out to me is just the style of this. When it starts, we see young Cam as like a 5, 6 year old child, and his dad is really pushing him, and they're watching Isaiah White on TV suffer this horrific injury. They're like, his career is open, his legs
Yeah,
broken in half, and his
yeah,
father's like making him watch this, and he was like, "This is a man. This is how you sacrifice for greatness." And it's shot so well. I was like, this is shot like an indie
yeah.
film, and there's a lot of style. It goes in and out of like it does some x-ray stuff, some infrared things. Like it's very visually interesting and stylistically interesting, and that's the stuff that I wasn't expecting. Like I expected it to be a little bit of a B movie, but the style really caught me by surprise, and it's one of the things I ended up really liking, and why I think Peele got behind this film. Even if it's not the best script ever, I was like, I'm excited to see what Justin Tipping does more, because the style really grabbed me.
Yeah, Tipping has done mostly television work. He did a film in 2016 called Kicks that we did not watch on the podcast, but I think was okay back when it came out. This is the first feature he's directed in a minute. And I did want to talk about this rad X-ray effect they do. Because, yeah, it happens a couple times. Like when there's a big impact, it'll go to slow-mo and switch to like this like infrared cam. He talked about it on a podcast while I was researching for before we talked about this. They shot that stuff with a thermal cam alongside their like real camera, so they could switch between the thermal cam and the real cam in editing, kind of like the black and white stuff in Dune 2 with Austin Butler when he's like outside fighting, and then they overlaid that with like a skeleton and like like CG to make that stuff work. And like it's so slick looking. They do this other stuff with these like inverted colors and these like skeleton radioactive looking dudes. Like a lot of really cool horror imagery and ideas, like big visuals for sure. And like I like that a lot of that's explained in universe because our character is unreliable. Like our narrator is not the most steady guy. He's got this awesome like cut on his head with these staples going like right down the hairline, which is really sick looking. And the characters are a lot of fun. Yeah, yeah. Cam is like kind of quiet and I don't want to. He's not soft per se, but like inside of him, inside of this great hero who's going to be like the savior of football, right? Is a person, and like Tyriq Withers does a pretty good job of bringing that guy out, at least in the opening of the movie. As things start to get more, the world closes in on him. Things start to get weird. He closes off more, but Marlon Wayans is a delight in this movie. He is a lightning rod,
Scenes,
and he's so much fun in this movie. Like, please get back on it. I know he's talking about doing Scary Movie 6 or whatever. Sick, can't wait to see him. Like, he's great. I love it. Please do more movies. Tim Heidecker is in this movie. Kind of odd. I think he's having fun for what's happening. Same with not Rebecca Fox. Yeah, Rebecca Fox is her name.
Julia Fox.
Julia Fox. She's having a good time. She's dressed to the nines. Like, I like the performances, and it's not too big of a cast. Like, so for who's here, like they're pretty well put together.
Yeah, Wayans is incredible as the mentor figure, and there's this whole idea of passing the torch, because he's like, I've done 8 seasons, I've been, it's about time for me to pass it off, and you're the guy, but you have to be up to the level, and I have to bring you up. And so this is a good time to talk about some of the horror. He brings him in to the football thing, and weird things starts happening. He starts having like visions and nightmares, and he can't see what is real and what isn't. And there's a great scene where he's doing football drills, throwing drills, and they make a guy stand in front of one of those automatic things where you drop the football in and shoots it out, and he just takes football in the face, like after like just continually, and it's one of these, like, it's adding pressure, and it eventually gets really gruesome, and there's several moments like that throughout the film where it just gets more and more gruesome, and it's a Faustian tale. It's like, what are you willing to sacrifice to be great? I was just listening to a podcast over the Prestige, Christopher Nolan's film, and there's a great part where Tesla says to him, "Have you considered the cost?" And he's like, "Oh, cost isn't an issue." No, have you considered the cost? Like, not just money, other things, like, what are you willing to
Yeah.
sell? Are you willing to sell your soul and more, for this? So that it gets weird. I think maybe that's where some people checked out because, it's a weird horror movie, and that I think maybe people just weren't expecting that, but it's exactly what I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, I think things get a little wacky towards Act 3 for sure. Things start to spin a little out of control. But yeah, looking at the trailer and some of the wacky things we see in there, I kind of expected that. I figured it was going to get wacky. You know what I mean? Like it starts grounded and then things become unglued like as the feature goes on. As far as problems go, I'd say that, right? Like it just gets a little too messy, like in the back half for a lot of folks. And you start to lose a little bit of reality as Cam really starts to slip, like as his mind starts to turn, like you really start to lose track of what's real and what isn't, which can be frustrating. Additionally, it's not, I was talking to somebody else about this. It's not scary. It doesn't often go for scares. If anything, it's surprisingly funny. Like with Marlon Wayans and Tim Heidecker in the cast, like you can expect some decent throwaway gags, and like they're in there. And it's not a particularly frightening film. It's definitely using a lot of horror imagery for sure. It's tense in moments, but like I don't think there's any like real jump scares. I don't recall ever being like jolted out of my seat or anything. But I do recall thinking, man, that's a cool sequence. That's a sick montage. That's a great idea. That's a good needle drop. Like I just feel like when I watched him, I saw a lot of good things and things that I liked in it. And maybe that's just because I had figured it was going to be bad. But like, I don't know. I thought it was what it was advertised on the box. I thought it was a fine, serviceable feature. I liked it.
Yeah, and it was actually, I mean, for me, it was a lot better than I had anticipated after those really early reviews. And this is a good time to remember that it's important to form your own opinion. There's so many people that review things that are paid, that are being nice for access, that are doing things for attention. And that's why I've started to trust early reviews less and less. And like, wait till a movie is actually out, released, real people have seen it, like the weekend after it's out is usually when you can get some real things. Especially we're starting to be able to catch when people are like desperately trying to get quoted on the poster of the movie, because they just have their reviews that don't sound real. But yeah, it was exactly what I thought it could. Like, I think one of the things that Suspiria does really well is that, from the beginning it's a coven of witches in this setting, and I think we could have been given away kind of the big climax, could have been teased a little bit more earlier. Like the script could be better, but I think the style, the acting, the direction is really promising.
Yeah, I would be interested to see this crew make another movie, like for sure. I think there's enough here that works. Like we've seen some real
I've
snoozers in
seen
the
worse
horror
movies
department.
this month.
Yeah. Like we've seen some real snoozers in horror. Like I think this is solid. Like I don't think this is a miss for Jordan Peele or Monkey Paw at all. I don't think anybody should look at it that way. If anything, I hope time is more kind to this movie than initial reviews have been. I think people are maybe just overexcited. Also, a lot of good music in this movie. Added like 5 tracks to the workout playlist. A lot of good music and hymns. So you can go check that out for free. You can hit that on Spotify right now. But Andy, would you recommend him?
Yeah, I absolutely would. This was a pleasant surprise. I enjoyed it a lot. Interesting premise, good performances. People always complain about original films and they don't go and see the original films, but it's a nice horror B movie. A lot of real interesting style. That's what really caught me by surprise, and I really enjoyed. So if you're a little unsure on the fence, save it for streaming.
Yeah, I'd recommend it as well. I think him's a lot of fun. I think it's good performances, big style, big action, big class, big music. Like, I think it's better than people give it credit for. I think a lot of people saw early reviews and thought, it's not that good. Nah, dude, it's pretty solid. Little wacky in the end. Things get a little weird towards the end of him, but outside of that, it's a real good time. Marlon Wayans rocks. Go see him. We should talk about some upcoming trailers. So what do we call this segment, Andy?
It's time for the trailer park.